I'm Katie.
And I'm Laura.
And we are
Small Town Music.
We are two small town music teachers looking to help other small town music teachers.
So whether it's managing your day-to-day or advocating for your program, we're here to help.
Like and subscribe and follow along on our journey. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Music.
Summer edition.
Summer edition. Yay. So we have now reached kind of the halfway-ish point of our summer vacation. I don't know if you're one of those poor souls that just started summer vacation. I'm so happy for you.
Or if you're like getting ready to go back because
your school is insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think a lot of the schools around us are kind of in the same boat, the same schedule. So when it gets to July, Laura and I both start kind of thinking about school. Just like ponder your job. We had a conversation earlier that I was like I'm such a delicate little flower in the summer because I have to wake up at 7 and I kind of do a little workout and then I make my breakfast and then it's time for a nap and then I maybe do some work on my computer, read a book, and then it's but it's difficult and but how did I work 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. on most days in August and May? And
I saw a meme. I told her earlier. I saw this meme yesterday that was I teachered so hard for 9 months, and now my body is buffering like a school-loaned Chromebook on school Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, yes, that is my functionality. But yeah, so July is here, and it's time to start thinking about school. So, start making some time to go in. And, if you're one of these people that says, no, I will not work when I am not being paid to work, good for you, man.
That's great.
Go for it. You don't have to listen to this episode.
Fast forward, but like and subscribe.
Yeah,
we'd appreciate that.
Just like it, and maybe share it with a friend that does go into school. But that's not us. So July's here, and just kind of start. I'll start putting on my calendar some days. Since we have child care to contend with.
Absolutely.
Putting some days on the calendar where we're gonna at least spend the afternoon or the morning. In school and just kind of doing some work. I can't work at home.
Yeah, I've tried and it's hard because home is home and work is work.
Yeah, and there's way too many distractions at home. If I can go into my office and sit, I can.
And also just the stuff. I have all my stuff at school. I have my laptop, but I physically have my stuff at school.
Yeah. So start scheduling those days where you can just make a plan to go in and get some things done. I know for me, I kind of start with those big picture things. So
yeah, if
you're new at a school, if you're walking into this classroom, then you may have a lot of those things, depending on what condition things were left in. But thinking about things like, try to get your master schedule from your administration if you haven't already and see exactly what classes you will be teaching.
Yeah. So if it's I'm actually doing some general music that I didn't originally plan on, okay, we gotta sort our curriculum out and kind of figure out what that looks like. Or
surprise, I found out I have an 8th grade class next year that I have never had before, which I'm super excited about. But okay, cool. Because we split the elementary music at our school, we never really know which grades we're gonna get.
So
and
a fun
sometimes
trick.
That changes the week before school starts.
Oh yeah,
it can, because they decided to tweak the recess schedule, which then tweaked the activity schedule. And so try to get that master schedule and find out how final it is, so you can start looking at your curriculum, just making sure you have it in place. Now, we're not making exact lesson plans yet. We're not don't spend too much time on it.
Again, big concepts.
It can change. It can still change at this point, but getting a good picture of that, maybe going through some of those conference notes that you took if you went to any conferences.
You listened to our last episode about all the conferences.
And anything that you might want to incorporate this year and get those projects lined out the way that you want to do them. the music library.
Yeah. So for me, it's my pet band binders. That's my forever project of like, it's always every single year. I'm like, I got to do this. I got to fix it. I got to add things. I got to take things away. I got to clean them up every year.
Any time that I have neglected the organization of my classroom at the end of one school year going into another, I've regretted it, because once school starts, there's no time.
Oh yeah.
Once
those big projects.
Starts, things like filing music in the music library, or, organizing all my sound cables, or sorting through all the stacks of papers. Like, those things just don't happen during the school year because we're just too busy. So going in and getting those big projects done. Not really like setting up the classroom yet, because lest the janitors will come in.
Oh yeah.
And clean your carpet, thus moving everything in your classroom over to one side of the classroom and then to the other, unplugging everything.
Yeah.
Which bless them for doing that, because I know what was on my floor this last school year in my carpeted classroom.
Middle schoolers and carpet, it's just bad combo.
But yeah, so we're not doing that. We're not going to spend our time doing that yet, because that could.
That's kind of my last things is setting up my classroom. Like so I run a community band. So we practice once a week up until 4th of July. And then like I do marching band the week leading up to 4th of July. And so we're kind of in there doing stuff, moving stuff around. So my goal after like 4th of July happens, we pack up everything and get it out of the way. And then like let the custodians do what they need to do. Sometimes they wax. Sometimes they just clean the floor, which is nice, or dust things, or I don't know. They're like, oh, we're going to add new boards to the classroom, or we're going to do. So let the custodians do what they need to do. Get that all done. And then that's kind of my last, get things planned. Recently I pulled out a bunch of concert music that I looked through my spreadsheet of concert music, pulled stuff out, physically looked at the music, listened to it, and then I created a spreadsheet of that music of, do I want to do that for concert band, beginning band, high school band? Do I want to, what level of difficulty is it? What are some pros of this piece of music? What are the cons? If I have the right kids that are the right motivation, then we can do it, kind of thing. And so I just have an idea of a better understanding instead of just a pile of random music that I'm like, did I want to do this for high school? Is this elementary? What is this for? So that's kind of a big project that I've been working on. And then, the pet band binders will be next. And then, just kind of waiting mid to late July to really set up the room and get it ready.
Yeah. And we talked about this a few weeks ago on the podcast about the idea of kind of pre-planning.
Yes.
Don't waste all your time and money with specifics until you know specifics. But doing a little bit of prep work ahead of time is going to make it a lot easier now that once you have students and you need to get music in their hands, then you can you kind of have that prep work done. You have a little bit of that pre-list made. You can be like, okay, you know what? All right, that one, those are going to work. And Here we go. And that's another thing I need to do this July as well, is kind of get that pre-planning happening.
So it just whittles it down even further. There's any number of music that could work or could not work within my music library, or things that we could buy. I try not to buy a bunch of new music. I love buying new music. New music is great, but also it's just so expensive and so many things that we already have to pay for. But it does help me just whittle it down even further. And the fact that I've physically held it in my hands and looked at it and thought oh yes, in an ideal situation, this would be great. Or oh, I thought this would be good for high school band, but actually we could do it for community band, or for our county-wide band festival that we put on in the spring, or, things like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about when I'm thinking about our listeners and thinking about what are the things that are a waste of your time to do during the summer.
When I've done a hardcore music theory curriculum for my band class. And I think that's good to look at and to kind of piece out oh, I want to look at these concepts. But when I do week by week very specific, like detailed plans, very specific detailed lessons, and like on week 1 we are doing exactly this, then we are doing exactly this, and that gets really dicey, and kind of a waste of my time personally, because it always falls apart. Like there's always something that gets in the way. I never am able to like truly follow it. We always get bogged down in concert stuff, or I'm like looking at the kids I have and the level of music theory we need to be at to do the things I want to do is not the same. Like I need to do a pre-test to determine like what are our strengths and weaknesses, where are we at? Like, do we need to go really way back to basics, or can we move on to modes and Neapolitan chords and, you know, get really deep in the weeds there?
Something I think, and this might be a generalization, but in my experience, something I think maybe choral directors, maybe better than instrumental directors, do of using the music to teach. Like, I don't know many choir directors that have a theory Thursday.
Right.
You know, like we kind of learn the theory as we go along. You know, it's the like, okay, like, hey, what's the key signature? Oh, okay, let's take 2 minutes right now and talk about how do we figure out what the key signature is. And then the next time we pull out a piece of music, okay, what's the key signature for this? Oh, it's got 2 sharps. All right, how do we figure out? And we take just a couple minutes at a time, kind of teaching through the music. And I don't know, I wonder. Yeah. I don't know. And I know like
every year I think like, oh, I should use my music to teach the concepts. Like what a novel. And we do, like, I do go in and like, okay, what's the key signature, guys? Okay, here's this rhythm. Yeah.
Warm-ups that help practice the rhythms and the notes and things that we're going to do. But maybe we have that luxury too, because, you know, our kids don't exactly have to know like that's a G in order to sing it. You know? Right. And so I wonder. Yeah. Because we kind of approach it differently. New podcast ideas.
Yeah.
How do we approach teaching a piece differently? But yeah. Okay. So developing those like incredibly rigid curriculum.
Yeah. The rigid curriculum is when I like it falls apart pretty quickly. Like I like to have a general idea, and I even like before school ended I wrote out some like general, I was just thinking through like, okay, next year what are some things I really need to do differently that I didn't do this year. And I think and it was just a very general basic like, okay, week 1 we got to hit these concepts, we got to do XYZ, instead of like me trying to flounder through our new music that I want to hit hard or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So I don't think, we're not saying that you shouldn't have a plan at all.
Yes, like, you should have a plan.
You know, definitely know, you know, what you need your kids to know and by when you're going to have them learn those things. But yeah, rigid plans.
I think also spending a lot of time like crafting beautiful posters, doing like really intense decorations. Like I've gotten annoyed, like if crafting is your love language, then like go for it. But I think like
I love the Pinterest perfect classroom. It's not mine, but.
Right. I like looking at other people's. For me personally, like, and especially the band room and the choir room it's such a large space that like the bulletin board, while it should look clean and have clear information, I think like getting really deep into the craftiness and like, well, I have things popping out and I have, look at all these things I bought, and I often regret like the amount of time spent decorating or like adding decor to a bulletin board that I'm going to take down in a couple weeks. I know my first year teaching, it was like teacher day. We had very minimal time to get ready, and I spent hours tracing and cutting out letters to tape on the wall. And that's what I did all day. And I was like, man, I could have planned like an entire week's worth of lessons for the kids I'm about to have. And instead I cut out letters for a bulletin board.
Yeah. I mostly agree. I don't know. I think there's definitely too something making sure that your classroom is warm and inviting, and that kids want to be in there.
Don't get me wrong. Like if you have piles stacked up everywhere,
right? Making sure your room is
clean, clear, organized.
A few good informational posters. Having your expectations posted and things like that are always good. But I think like you said, spending that hours and hours of crafting things when maybe you don't have the other things that you need done, because when day 2 comes and you've taught through day 1 and then you're like,
they came back and
they're going to come back again and they're going to want something different. Unless you teach elementary music and then you have a whole week to go.
And that's nice. Yeah.
I'm trying to think things. Like things that I've really wasted my time doing.
I think it's that in-depth curriculum work that I don't really have time to in-depth curriculum plan during the year, but also doing it in the summer is hard because you just, even if it's, the kids you're going to have, it's just different. Like what have they retained? What do they need to know? Where do you want to take them?
I think anything that requires you to have specific knowledge of your students, doing it before day 1 is just not hardly going to work.
Yeah.
Spend the first week of school getting to know your students, and then you can really apply. But if you've done that big curriculum planning, if you've done
overarching
concepts, overarching work, if you've done the prep work on picking music options, then that'll make it work really quickly once school starts, and you can be like, all right, let's go. I
created like a theory workbook last year, and I really liked having that to be able to okay, page 9 is the piano keyboard, and we don't really know the piano keyboard very well, and I would like you to know that. So, all right, we're gonna do page 9, and then next week, building on that, the next page. Okay, great. Now we can look at note names. Now we can look at rhythms. And so I have those available at my disposal to be able to get kids going on the theory. And it's just all in a workbook. I don't have to go through and create worksheets or print worksheets out, and it's it's all there.
Yeah. Very good. So probably maybe 2 weeks before school starts is when I'll start being like, okay, I need to actually make sure I know what's going to happen on the first day of school. And that's when I really start to be like, all right, let me get my my dots. I can't, what are they?
Sit spots.
The sit spots.
Yeah, sit dots. Carpet dots.
I have numbered spaces that, and my kids use chairs, but since I have carpet, I have Velcro circles.
Yeah.
I'll get those set back out. So I have my seating arrangements made, not necessarily with kids' names, but, I'll get the room set up. I'll start making those day 1 plans, those week 1 plans, getting our beautiful Canvas slideshows made.
Any printing, any large so when I print out the handbooks or the copies of every high school kid plays lip benders warm-ups in our book, so I try to have that in their binders ready to go. Or we have band binders for 6th through 8th grade band students, and so I try to have the scale warm-ups and the first couple pieces of music I want to sight read through, just to it's ready to go. This is our binder. This is what we use.
And getting those copies made before every other teacher is in there also trying to use the copy machine, and then runs out of toner and things get jammed, and
then you've wasted even more time.
So getting those things done ahead of time. Before we have we go in one day before the kids for teacher day, where we have meetings, and they do give us time to work in our classroom, but I want that to be fluff time for me.
Oh yeah.
I want my day 1 ready to go before I get to that teacher day.
Yeah, because the teacher day, the meetings take longer, or something comes up, and
then people are all stressed out because I need to be in my room working. It's I don't need to be. I got things. Right. There are always things to do.
There are always things to do.
But so yeah, probably this last couple weeks of July is whenever we'll kind of start transitioning from from the music library project and from the large scale curriculum planning down to that. All right, day 1 in this class, day 2 in this class, day 3.
I think, teacher work day, I often am like, because our class rosters are still like kind of
fluid,
up in the air, not entirely 100% set. So then like that's when I'll start putting the chairs out.
Well, I guess, yeah. Like,
well, that's also like it takes 10 minutes to set out the chairs, you know, like,
yeah, not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
I feel like I rearrange my classroom like every like 2 or 3 years.
Oh yeah.
Somehow, like I'll decide like we're gonna face this way this year. We're gonna like I'm gonna put my piano on this side of the room.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave all the Orff instruments out so I can more readily access them. Versus I don't want these out and makes everything look so cluttered. I'm gonna put them away in storage until I need them.
Touch them.
They touch them. Why do they always have to touch them?
I don't know. Students listening, why? Why do you touch the things?
If it's not yours,
don't
touch it.
Let us know how you plan your school year in July. If you plan it at all, if you're like, no, I don't do that, then great. Like, what do you do in July? Yeah. Tell us your fun things that you do. Do you take a last minute vacation? Like my wedding anniversary is at the end of July, which is kind of nice because then that's forced us to like do something fun towards the end of the summer, which is, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good. So what do you do? What do you do at the end of the summer? And also, I mean, let us know. Like, are you kind of like you're sitting in the middle of your new classroom and thinking,
what do I do?
Oh my, where do I start? Let us know, and we'll be glad to help you prioritize and start off your school year the right way.
Yeah. All right. Like, review, rate, subscribe, follow.
All the things.
Share it with your friends, all the things.
Just interact with us. We're here for you.
Let us know you're here because we're here.
Happy summer.
Bye.
Bye.